Good afternoon, everyone. This is Michael Mazikin from the New Jersey State Library, and thank you for joining us today for this overview of EBSCO admin. Before we get started, I'm going to drop a link into the chat. You can see it there. I would just ask that you bookmark that link. And after the program today, give us a little bit of feedback on today's program, if you wouldn't mind. But in the meantime, let's get started. Joining us today is Shayna Ashwood-Viala from EBSCO. She's going to give us an overview of EBSCO admin. So I'm going to turn it over to Shayna. Take it away.
Thank you, Michael, and welcome everybody for joining this overview of your EBSCO admin, which is the back-end administrative tool that helps you manage customization and authentication and reporting for your EBSCO resources. Today, we're going to review the essential EBSCO admin topics, including navigation basics, account creation, managing roles and permissions for administrators. We'll also talk about how EBSCO admin is organized in a hierarchy of sites, groups, and profiles. We'll show you how to customize the end user's search experience. We'll talk about databases and links and authentication reports and statistics. And we'll also show you where you can get additional supportive resources like our frequently asked questions, videos, tutorials, as well as promotional materials and access to our training resources, all at EBSCO Connect. By the end of this session, you'll know how to navigate EBSCO admin, administer accounts, apply customizations, maintain authentication, generate reports that you need, as well as locate help and supportive materials. And as I mentioned, that help site is called Connect. It's connect.ebsco.com. Easy URL to remember, and that's where you can get everything you need to support your learning for the resources you subscribe to. Now, as administrators, you would log into EBSCO admin at eadmin.ebscohost.com. And if you have a second screen, feel free to log in along with me as I demonstrate the features of EBSCO admin. At the end of the session, there's no need to take any notes. We're going to be providing a link to this recording, as well as some helpful links to eAdmin articles, training videos, and instructions to request a Connect account, which will enable you to submit support tickets and access our deep learning e-learning paths on the Connect site for training. I'll also be sending you some great links that provide definitions for reporting and admin. So lots to come after today's session. So I'm going to exit out of this presentation, and I'm going to dive right into EBSCO admin. For time's sake, I have already logged in, and I'm going to be accessing the administrative account for your consortium, the New Jersey State Library. You'll see that on this landing page, it's a very busy landing page. This is a very old but powerful back end. Not so pretty, but it is very strong. It handles all of your customization options here for your front-end user interfaces. And so I'm going to start at the Admin Security tab here in the upper center portion of our screen. This is where you can see your existing administrative accounts. Every institution has its own admin portal. So since we're accessing at the consortium level, you may see some things you may not see at the site level, but we'll go ahead and click that admin tab for admin security. And here, because I'm accessing everything at the consortium level, I can see the administrative logins for all of the institutions, all of the affiliated institutions within New Jersey State Library. As an administrator of your own institution, you will only see your administrative logins for your administrators. On this page, you'll see the site name, the display name for the administrative user, their user ID, and their email address. We can't view their password, that is secure, but we can see if that password has expired or not. In the column over to the far right, you can click a reset button to reset someone's password that has expired, and an email will go to their email address in order for them to reset it. Password expiration is on a 365-day basis, so it will tick down until that time. You should be getting notifications in your inbox letting you know that your administrative account is about to expire. What I also want to point out here is the roles. We're going to click over to the roles. Let me browse for New Jersey Library. Since we have a long list here, I'm going to click browse and we'll see what comes up. All right, so we have a number of resources here, administrators. And so Michael's account is here. And if Michael, you don't mind, I'm actually going to click into the roles for your administrative account at the consortium level. So we'll go ahead and click that role. So we can see Michael's permission levels for the different roles that he has access to. We'll just wait for this to change over, and we're taking a look at the administrative roles for Michael and the permission levels he has. So read only is view only access. Write is the highest level of permission. That's your edit access. And none basically means you don't even see that aspect of EBSCO admin. So as you can see, Michael is a high level administrative person having write privileges for all roles. The book selector role has to be set to none when you are also a book approver. So that is the way the back end works. So Michael has all privileges. If we needed to change any of his permissions, you can just toggle for each role to either read only, write, or none, and then click the submit button to update the access level that the administrator has. If you needed to add an administrator to your institution, you can click add new administrator in the upper left corner, and then that would bring you to a page where you can enter their display name, which is usually their first and last name. You'll leave the user ID blank for them to complete, and you'll enter their institutional email address and click submit. And then a link will go to their email account, giving them instructions for completing their setup. Okay, so that is how you add a new administrator. Since I'm on the admin security tab, I'm going to just point out that you can change your password to the right of that tab. You can also access our Connect site with the link to support and training as well. All right. And this is where you would log out of EBSCO admin when you're ready. All right. So let me go back. I'm going to go back to the Customized Services tab here. This is the default landing page, for the lack of a better term, because there really is no landing page for EBSCO admin. This really is, taking the curtain back and looking at all the inner workings of the administrative tool. So for the lack of a real landing page, Customized Services is the landing page, and it functions like that. I want to talk about how EBSCO admin is organized, and it is organized in a hierarchy of 3. At the highest level of a hierarchy is your site. So since I'm accessing the consortium, New Jersey State Library, there is a little caret drop down showing me all the affiliated institutions within, oops, looks like we had a glitch. Let me try clicking that again. It's the first time. Maybe I won't do that. I should be able to see all of the affiliated institutions within the, let me actually try refreshing the page. Yeah, snap again. Let's just reload and pretend. This would give you a drop down for all of the institutions that are affiliated with the New Jersey State Library Consortium, but we're going to stick on this site level. This is the highest level of the hierarchy. And that basically represents your organization. So if you are an administrator for an individual institution within the New Jersey State Library Consortium, you would only see your institution. If you happen to be part of a system or what have you, there may be a drop down. So within sites, which is your organization, there are groups. Okay, so let's hope that this works. There we go. So within groups, you'll see a caret drop down if you have more than one group. Groups represent your high level user group. So you can create groups for different purposes, like for testing or for trials or for reporting, or I've seen even not so often, but we see actually here remote user group versus a main user group. The main user group is what we on the back end at EBSCO, we create for end user access. So when we set your account up, you will have a main user group, and every account has a main user group, but you can create different groups for different purposes. We see a number of trial groups here as well. So within groups, which are your high-level user group, and I'll go ahead and just stick with the main user group, you have profiles. So we kind of go in a clockwise fashion from sites. Sites contain groups and groups contain profiles. And let's check this drop down. Okay. So within these profiles define the databases and the collections, the settings, the limiter settings, the screen settings, everything that your end users see and interact with on the front end. Profiles indicate the resources that are available for searching within that group, within that site. And so for the consortium level, we have a number of different profiles. Each profile has a name, and in brackets is the unique identifier. So I just put my cursor over the business searching interface for a business source. We have EBSCO Discovery, we have EBSCO Espanol. If you are looking for EBSCO host, which we'll demonstrate today, I'm actually going to scroll down and see if I can find the eHost database. I am going to be looking for what is indicated in brackets, because that is the unique identifier for the database, or the profile, I should say. And so you can name it what you want, but I look in the brackets. And so the profile that we're going to be taking a look at is your EBSCO host profile. We're going to actually take a look on the front end to see how this profile functions. And actually, you actually have the new UI. So let me pull up your new UI. I think once you have the new user interface, you're not able to view, right now, EBSCO admin only allows you to view the classic interface. So let me quickly find your link for the new user interface. I think I have it here. If I don't, I can quickly pull it up. And maybe actually I can pull it up on the front end. Now let me go ahead and pull that. Give me 1 second. I'm going to open up a new tab. All right, so just put this in. All right, so in order for me to demonstrate the back end, I'm going to conduct some searches on the front end, and we'll go back and forth between the back end and the front end. And so if you haven't converted to the new EBSCO host user interface, this is what it looks like. The state library has converted. And so I can also give you all links to information about the new user interface. If you're interested in previewing, you can get your link, and you can also take a look at recorded sessions for this new UI interface. So I'm going to conduct a search. Before I do that, let me just select a few databases, not all of these, so it doesn't slow down our search. I'll select Academic Search Premier, and maybe I'll just do the ebook collection, and we'll click, I just move this out of the way, and then we'll click select. Okay. So got that queued up. Let me go back into EBSCO admin. So I am actually viewing this profile on the front end now. So once you choose a profile on the Customize Services tab, all of the tabs below the profile you select are a function of this profile. So all of your search optimization settings, the databases you select, your viewing results customizations, your links, your delivery options, all of these are a function of your EBSCO host profile in this case. If you change to a different profile, then your settings here will change as well. So I'm going to start on the tab that is already highlighted, searching. And this is where you'll be able to view and modify all of your search optimization settings. This controls your pre-search settings, what parameters are set before an end user executes a search on the front end. So let me go ahead back into the front end and conduct a search. I'll just do something very basic like climate change. That always gives us good results. All right. And so now we're taking a look at the front end for our search. And we don't see that any filters have been employed by default. Let's say you, as an institution, wanted to automatically limit your search results to full text. That would be selected by default on the front end for your users, but it is not in this particular case. I'm going to go back into the back end and show you where you can make those settings, default settings for your end users. So here on the searching tab, we're going to start with search modes. Okay, I'm going to click the search modes next to the search modes setting. You'll click the modify link to view the different search modes that are available. So here we can see that there are several search modes available. Proximity, which used to be called Boolean. We just updated that to show as proximity search. Then there's a find all, which automatically ands your search, find any, which automatically ORs your search, and smart text searching. For New Jersey State Library, the default setting for search modes is find all. So it's going to automatically and your search phrase. So on the front end, the search results have combined climate and change and have executed the search in that way because on the back end, you have selected find all as a default setting. On the front end, you can change that. Actually, it might not be visible here. When the new UI allows you to make changes to search modes, they will be available here. Right now, the new user interface does not show that. It shows it in EBSCO Experience Manager, but we know that whatever we set in EBSCO Admin will translate to the new user interface. That might be a little confusing. Let me know if I did not explain that correctly. And it may be helpful if we also have the classic interface available as well. So let me see if I can pull that up to demonstrate. Maybe we can toggle between both. Give me 1 second. No, I don't think that this account has access to Classic any longer. Let's see. Let's go into EBSCO Admin and I'll change a profile. I'm just doing some back-end magic, just checking. So yes, you have all new UI. So my apologies, we'll have to work within the new UI, which is not a bad thing because we are all moving forward. So I will just talk about the different changes you can set. So for the front end, the default search mode for the consortium is find all, but you can change it. So if you choose proximity search, which is a Boolean search, you could toggle this from default selected no to default selected yes and click submit. And then on the front end, your users would be searching by default using a proximity search. All right, hopefully that makes sense. My apologies for the detour. I'll explain what the others are. The proximity search is actually going to search for your terms in the top layer of metadata. With a precision operator, actually, there is nothing set here. We might want to set this to within 5 words of each other or within 3 words of each other. Typically, the precision distance is between 5 and 3, 5, or 7, 5 being the most common. The find any would automatically OR your search. This is an expander, very rare for an institution to set a search mode as a find any, but you're giving your end users the option to select different search modes. This is a feature that will be coming with the new UI this summer. So the ability for an end user to change their search mode is something on the roadmap, I believe, for July next month. All right, so that's search modes. Smart text searching allows users to copy and paste large amounts of text into the search box, and the technology will extract the most relevant keywords out of that large amount of text and then execute a search. That is also not something that you would set by default, but it is an option for a user to employ. So those are your search modes. I'm going to go back to the searching tab to move from search modes to the next main section here. There are a lot of things you can take a look at, but within our time constraints, I want to get to the most important aspects. So we're going to scroll down to the limiter and expander settings within search modes, and we're going to take a look at our limiter settings. We'll click modify here. So our limiter settings, these are the default settings that you can set. And as I mentioned, there were no default settings when we executed our search. So go ahead and execute that search again. And no filters have been employed by default. If you wanted to employ filters by default, this is where you would do it. You could toggle the default setting to on for full text. References available, peer reviewed, and so forth. Okay, but you are giving the end user the ability to view all of these limiters to employ them. So on the front end, there go all of your limiters that you can employ: full text, references available, peer reviewed, and so forth. All right, so let's go back. And those are your limiters. Once again, any changes you make, you would click submit. And then those changes would take effect instantly. Notice here that there's a tick box that says you are going to apply changes to all databases on this profile. That's something that you want to do unless you wanted to be very specific about which limiters you employ for different databases when a user selects them. So I can imagine within this profile, let's see if we have any special. We don't actually. Let's say you had, Sentinel database or Medline or something like that, very specific. You might want to employ special limiters to those in particular. But otherwise, if you wanted to apply across all of the databases on the profile, you'd keep that tick box selected. Okay. All right. So those are our limiters. I'm going to go back to the searching tab, and I'm going to take a look at expanders, and we'll click modify here. Expanders that you can employ by default are applied here or viewable here. You've got the apply related words expander, also search within the full text of articles expander, and apply equivalent subjects. What we have on by default, apply related words and apply equivalent subjects. And so let me explain what apply related words means. That basically expands your search to include related words like synonyms and plurals for the keywords you enter. Also search within the full text of articles is not on by default, and that's a good thing because typically when you conduct a search from the front end, you're searching, and I'll go to the front end to demonstrate that, for climate change. I'm searching for that phrase in the title, in the abstract here, in the subject headings, the publishing information. That's the top layer of metadata for my search term. On the back end, if I were to search within the full text of an article, it would also search within the full text of, in this case, the ebook. So that's a great expander. It's not something that you want on by default, but in the event that you have a very narrowly defined search and it produces very limited results, you may want to turn on also search within the full text of the articles to get more search results. And then last is apply equivalent subjects, and we call this the enhanced subject precision expander. And what this is it basically makes your end user's search smarter. We know that the public typically doesn't know the specific vocabulary terms used by different publishers to index their content. So what this does is it takes the known or the common terms that a user may enter and matches it with those subject terms to make the search smarter. All right, so those are your expanders. I'm going to click back to search results. I'm sorry, the searching tab. And just so you know, there are many more things you can take a look at here, but the most important things we have covered. So we're going to move over from searching to databases. Okay, I'm going to click the databases tab, and keep in mind we're still on the EBSCO host profile. And the databases tab lets you see all of the databases that you have enabled for searching within the EBSCO host profile. And so all of those databases are depicted here. All right, so everything from academic search, your business databases, your ebook collections, ERIC, Green File, and so forth are all on. My apologies. If you wanted to see what has not been enabled, you could come to the show section here and click on disabled. And that would show you, and we can see here that there have been some trial resources that have been turned off, and some other resources that are not on. Okay, so viewing what has been enabled, basically what you're seeing here on the front end is on the back end is available on the front end. If we were to go back to the landing page and we click the databases to search, all of these databases to search have been selected or enabled for searching on the databases tab by toggling on to the on enable radio button, and at the bottom of the screen, clicking submit. Okay, so that is where databases live. Any questions there? All right. So let me, and the order depicts or shows you what order is available on the front end as well. You can change the order. All right, so let's move on to viewing. Actually, yeah, we'll go ahead to viewing results. These settings here control what the end users see after they execute a search. All right, so you can play around with, and this actually no longer applies for the new UI, the page layout here. So this is a relic that is no longer available for new UI. But we could see some things like allowing viewing of video results, allowing the download of audio content, the number of results per page. So these are all after the effect, after the search, your viewing results settings. Let's take a look at a linking. And we can see any custom links that have been enabled here on the linking tab. We'll go to custom links and we'll click modify. And we do have a custom link for ERIC full text. If we wanted to make any edits to that, we can click set up and maintain custom links right above that link. And we can scroll down to the ERIC link. And here we can see ERIC full text managed by EBSCO. We'll click that hyperlink to view how this link appears in your search results. So we can see the link text is full text from ERIC. on the front end, let me select Eric, for instance. And we'll just deselect the ebook collection. We'll click select, and we'll search for teaching technology. There we go. Conduct a search. And let's see. Full text from Eric. There goes your link. Okay, so the text that's depicted here for any custom links would be managed on the linking tab. So Eric is one of them as an example. Okay, so let's go back to customize services to pull up our tabs again. So that's your linking tab. Let's take a look at delivery options. This controls the tools that are enabled on the full text resources in EBSCOhost. So if you want to enable printing or emailing, citation, Google Drive and OneDrive, and I'll show you how that appears on the front end. Let's see if we can take a look at, we're going to take a look at an option from, not Eric. Actually, maybe I should not choose teaching pedagogy as my topic here because it's only going to be Eric. So we'll go ahead back to climate change and we'll take a look at, let's see, an online full text. So our tools, citation, for instance, are available here. Some of these are actually also available in EBSCO Experience Manager. That might be a conversation for another day, but we're going to cover most of the primary customizations in EBSCO Admin. A lot of this, once you go into Experience Manager, and if we have time, I'll quickly show you what Experience Manager looks like, but we're slowly moving functionality out of EBSCO Admin into Experience Manager, but the majority of our customizations still exist here. All right. Multilingual options is the next tab, and this pretty much controls two things. It controls the ability to change the interface language as well as to change the full text language. So language translation for full text is on and interface language is on. So let me go back into this full text article, and here we can translate. So there is a translate tool here giving us access to 30 different languages to translate this article into. So if I wanted to change this language to, or this article into Spanish, I can choose that language from the translation drop-down menu, and it will quickly be translated by Microsoft, just a translation. I can also, oops, didn't mean to do that, change it back to the original language. All right, so last but not least, within these tabs here for our profile is branding. Now, this is one thing that definitely will not take effect in the new experience, in the new EBSCOhost interface. It's actually, we've ported this information over into Experience Manager. So your ability to customize colors is now available in Experience Manager. So we'll get to that in a moment. What I want to do in the last few 10, 15 minutes or so is cover additional tabs here. So this is customized services. The majority of our customizations are still available in EBSCO Admin. All of authentication options here are managed in EBSCO Admin unless you happen to have Clever. So if you are a school utilizing Clever, we do have that integration, but that is a net new integration, and that Clever integration is available in Experience Manager. But all other forms of authentication depicted here: user ID, password, IP, patron files, CPID, which is your barcodes, referring URLs, Open Athens, cookies, SAML, personal users, preferred authentication, API, and LTI are all available on the authentication tab. Pretty self-explanatory. You can select the method. We'll go to IP address, for instance. And within each tab, there will be a definition that explains the method of authentication and how your end users would authenticate for that method. So IP address, you can see the IP addresses that have been logged here. We can select an IP address to view the range and make any modifications and click submit to make updates. So authentication, let's talk about a few. We've got CPID for barcodes, rarely used these days, but some legacy accounts still may have barcodes listed here. And it's taking a while to update. There we go. So we do have some barcodes that we can update here. Referring URLs is also a common one. Less common these days, but we do have that information. I do want to get to, and there we go, cookie authentication. This is important. If you want your users to utilize cookies, you can enable them. And so we can see that cookies are enabled here, allowing users to stay signed in for up to 180 days. This is an editable field. Any changes you want to make, you'll make that adjustment and click submit. We also have preferred authentication, and this is critical for new user interface. So the majority of New Jersey accounts have already migrated, but any accounts that have yet to migrate, this is one area that you will need to confirm is up to date. You want to make sure that your preferred authentication order is accurate, because the new URL for the new user interface carries your authentication in the URL. Okay, so we can see with the new UI, the browser URL is also a permanent link. And we can see that the code here within our URL is our OPID URL, which carries the authentication. Unique opaque identifier is what it's called, carries your preferred authentication in that URL. So that is an important area you'll want to confirm is accurate. So if you've got a preferred authentication order, or if you are utilizing a proxy. In this case, for the New Jersey State Library, proxy is not being used, but preferred authentication is. So it's one or the other. Okay. So that is preferred authentication. LTI, if you have any institutions, especially schools, that may utilize popular learning management system like Canvas or Blackboard, Schoology, D2L, Moodle, we do have an LTI tool to integrate with those popular learning management systems, and you would maintain that here on this tab. So if you have any system admins for learning management systems that want to bring the search box, the EBSCO host search box, your discovery search box into your learning management system, you can do so with the LTI tool, and this is where you would configure that. All right, so that's authentication. Let's move over to reports and statistics. Last tab for today, and then we'll talk about some supportive resources. And we'll take a quick look at Experience Manager. So reports and statistics, this is where you run all of your usage reports for your EBSCO resources. You can also access Counter 5 reports if you're doing IPEDS reporting. But we'll take a look at the standard use reports today. We'll take a quick look at analytics, and we'll take a quick look at a fun report, which is a top search terms report. So I'm going to go into standard usage reports. And within standard usage reports, you have several options. There are about 4, I believe, report types. 5, a database usage report, an interface usage report, link activity, login, and title usage. You can see which interfaces are most used at your institution by running an interface usage report. If you scroll your cursor over the question mark, a very detailed definition will pop up explaining this type of report. We're going to select the reporting period here for 6 months worth of data. We're going to analyze this interface usage report at the profile level, and we're going to create a report for download. When we click this orange box, a green bar will appear, letting us know that the report is being generated. And when that green bar goes away, like it just did, it will be available on the Download Reports tab. So we'll click that, and that will bring us to the report that I just ran, with access to download that report as a tab delimited CSV or as an Excel spreadsheet. So I'll go ahead and open up the Excel spreadsheet. and just show you what this report looks like quickly. And this is a great report to run if you need to clean up your profiles. Remember when we took a look at the profiles on the Customized Services tab, there was a long list of profiles. That's going to vary by institution. But this is a great way if you were to grab all, and actually I should have specified the library itself, this New Jersey State Library. But for instance, let's just take a look at Russell. A Russell Knight Elementary School has 3 profiles. We can see by the number of sessions here, this might be a little hard for you to see, but the EBSCO host is the most used profile. We have Explorer K5. I can open up the profile name. This is probably easier to see. So for Russell Elementary, the most used profile is EBSCO host, followed by, as a distant second, Explorer Primary, literary reference source, and points of view. So it's a great way to see what is being most used, what may need to be promoted, and maybe what needs to be removed as a profile if you're not getting any usage. So great report to run. Let me go ahead and close this, and we'll go back to the Reports and Statistics tab. We'll take a look at analytics. These are your visualizations. So we'll take the data in the usage reports and provide pretty charts and graphs for you to view. Let's just wait for this to load. There are several reports available on analytics as well. And we can see under the report type, once again, placing your cursor over the question mark explains the report, but you've got a database usage report, interface, and login usage. So let's take a look at login usage, for instance. And here we can see the most used login methods available or being used at your institution. If it would just load. Okay, so that didn't want to load. We'll go back and we'll just click Reports and Statistics to get out of that. It's the end of the day. We'll take a look at top search terms, and maybe I'll go back to that report. I know that we're at time, so I just really wanted to let me check and see if no, I haven't looked out. Okay, so this is a great report. Top search terms shows you what's being searched at your institution. You can see a little word cloud, a nice graphic depiction of words being searched or phrases. And below that, it will tell you the search term, the frequency of search, the customer count, result, clicks available by search term. This report defaults to searches within the last 3 months, but you can change that to the most recent month of searches. All right. So that's the top search terms report. All right. And let's just quickly see if analytics will load for us one more time. Okay, for some reason it didn't want to load initially. So now we're taking a look at standard usage analytics. We'll just take a look at the database usage report here, and it gives you some pretty charts and graphs based on the database being searched, in which interface, and it provides the number of sessions, the regular searches, searches federated and automated, and then the full text requests, abstract requests, link out requests by database. So we can also sort to see what is the most popular databases being, what are the most popular databases being searched. Okay. All right, so that does it for our reports and statistics. And we are almost at time. Let me see if we have any questions. We are actually at time, but we did start a little later. Just to keep you up to date, Michael did place the SurveyMonkey link for the survey for the session. So before you log out today, please go ahead and pull that off and fill it out if you do have the time. I'm going to quickly show you EBSCO Experience Manager. I do think that I had pulled that up. and did want to show you what the new EBSCO admin looks like. I actually have already logged in to the New Jersey State Library's EBSCO Experience Manager. This is going to be the new version of EBSCO admin, eAdmin, I should say. It's called EBSCO Experience Manager, and this gives you all of your different configuration options for Researcher, Publication Finder, and integrations. We'll click into Researcher. There is an outline over here that also allows you to go into different areas. And on the Researcher, you can control branding. You can make adjustments to your links and the wording of common labels and ghost text. You can control navigation links and customize the product, the end user's product experience. All right, so we'll just click into branding, because I mentioned branding is where you'll want to come to Experience Manager and make any changes. So you'll want to choose the profile that you want to edit. For branding, it may be all profiles. Or if you have a custom branding that you want to impact for particular profiles, you can choose them. So you'll choose your profile, and then you can make changes to your colors by either using a color picker or entering your hex code or RGB code. For accessibility, it's going to provide the contrast ratio. You get a green check mark if you are within the proper contrast. If it was not, it would give you a red X and encourage you to select proper contrast. This is where you upload your logo, and as you can see, it's been ported over from EBSCO admin automatically, so you don't have to worry about your logos here. But within the Experience Manager, you can also now update a secondary logo or include a secondary logo or funding statement now. So there are additional options here. This is the area where you can import a secondary logo or a funding statement if you choose to do so. So just a sampling of what you can do in Experience Manager. Now available, but the majority of the functionality for customization is in your EBSCO admin. All right. So with that, that wraps up our overview of EBSCO admin. I do encourage you, I will be sending some links, but I do encourage you to bookmark connect.ebsco.com, because here is where you can access tons of information about EBSCO admin. You can just type EBSCO admin, conduct a search, and all of our related articles and training resources and tutorials will pop up in our search results. And so we can see over 300 search results on EBSCO admin. So we've got some topics like how to add a profile, best practices for setup, a video for an overview. So a great resource for you to further your learning and understanding of EBSCO admin or any of your EBSCO resources. All right. Any questions? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. I'll give you guys a moment to see if there are any questions you'd like to ask outside of the recording. If you are ready to go, thank you for your time and attention. I appreciate your subscription, your partnership with EBSCO, and I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now.